Raise your son to be a gentleman and teach your daughter to accept nothing less. Hi everybody, this is Life with Leonard and welcome to another episode. On this channel, I strive to motivate and inspire you to become the best version of yourself. And today's episode is really no different. I'm going to be sharing with you 8 important lessons that I believe every father must teach his son. And I want you to pay particular attention to lesson number 7 and 8. What I need you to understand is that every single social ill that we experience today is directly or indirectly linked to fatherlessness. Now, the consequences of a fatherless home has really a devastating effect on society as a whole. And as you know, most of the children coming from a fatherless home, they are more prone to poverty, prone to alcohol and drug abuse, crime, teenage pregnancy, lack of education, and that list really goes on. And these statistics are really well documented all over the internet. Children living on the street, most of them come from fatherless homes. I mean, most of our inmates in prisons, it's very well documented. They also come from fatherless homes. And that's why I thought I will make this episode, because I think it's a very, very important topic that we need to touch. We need to talk about this. Now, not so long ago, I did an episode on the 8 things that every daughter needs to hear from their father. If you click on the pop-up banner, it'll take you to that episode. But don't go there now. I want you to first watch this episode, and please watch it throughout. You will really, really benefit from it. You can thank me later. I'm really looking forward to your comments in the comments section below. I would really like you guys to interact and just share with me your thoughts and also things that you think that I've missed out and that every father should maybe also teach their children, or something maybe that your dad, your father taught you that you would like to share with us all. So I'm really excited for this episode, so let's get to it. Be a man of integrity. It was C.S. Lewis who said that integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. And that really clears that out. And I'm speaking to you as the dad. You know, you must be a man who speaks the truth and lives by the truth. You know that a lie doesn't become the truth. Evil doesn't become good, and wrong doesn't become right just because it's accepted by the majority. And if I think about a man with integrity, there's a few words that comes to mind. A man with integrity is an honest man. He is a just man. He has a good heart. He is patient. He takes pride in everything that he does, but he's not boastful. A man with integrity, he is trustworthy. And I can go on, and I would like you to add on what you think a man with integrity, the characteristics that he must possess. And you know, it is so important that you practice what you preach, that you live and set the example by the way that you live, by your conduct. It is so important because your son is always watching, he's always observing, he's always learning, and he will mimic whatever you do. Now, the second lesson that you need to teach your son is to respect women. Now, the best way for me to explain this to you is to remind you that your actions as the dad, as the father, speaks louder than words. And that the way that you treat your spouse, your wife, his mother, lay the foundation of how he will one day treat his wife. You know, respecting women is important for 2 reasons. Your son will find the right kind of partner. Like attracts like. And if your son is respectful, he will find a mate that respects herself and him. If your son isn't respectful and someone wants to be in a relationship with him, there's probably an issue. Respecting women is the right thing to do. Not because women are lesser people. That couldn't be further from the truth. It's because women have inherent value as human beings. This can be said all the time, but it's really going to stick when your son sees you model this behavior. Whether you think he is or not, your son is watching how you treat your spouse, how you handle conflict, how you treat women when you're in public, and how you talk about them. Lesson number 3 is you need to teach your son to look after your family. Now, this one goes without saying to a lot of you, but you need to realize a lot of dads didn't have a good example growing up. And now it is required of them to be kind, to be loving, to lead and to love as if they have never been hurt before. And it's quite a tall order if you didn't come from that sort of environment. I think it was Anita Baker who said, you leave your house in the morning to seek your fortune, and when you get it, you go back home and share it with your family. And that is really the principle and the basis where this point really hovers around, that you need to look after your family as the father, as the dad. When you set the example by the environment, that loving environment that you create in your home, where you lead, where you protect, where you provide for your family, you have the responsibility to lead, to protect your family, and to lead them to greater heights. And in many instances, you need to break that generational curse. Don't let the past define who you become. Teach your son, by way of example, to look after his family in every way, not just financially and not just providing food and shelter. This is about the emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being of a family unit. And next is, you need to teach your son to take responsibility. Now, this is such an important point, and I can really talk about this all day or all night. I'm actually recording this episode at night. The first time I'm recording any episode at night, by the way, just a side note there. And I mean, as I said, I can speak about this topic and this specific lesson all night. But, you know, maybe before I get there, maybe I should just remind you and ask you kindly to please subscribe to my channel, like this video if you do like it, and share it. And leave your comments in the comment section below. And as you know, I read through all these comments and I try my best to respond to all of them. And I'm really looking forward to your contribution based on this episode and the lessons that I'm sharing with you all today. To get back to the point, so you need to teach your son, as his dad, to take responsibility. And you know, the truth is, a lot of people want to change the world, or maybe want someone else to do it, but they are not willing to clean their own room. And that is so important. It's a lesson that you need to understand, because that's the only way that you can teach it to your son. You must really practice here and lead, practice what you preach and lead by the example. So don't you as the dad start something and not finish it. Don't you pass the buck. Don't you set a routine and expectation and not live up to it yourself, because your son is watching and you need to lead by the example. In other words, there are people who don't want to take responsibility for their actions. When they do something wrong, it's everyone else's fault but theirs. When they make a mistake, they aren't willing to own it. People like this rarely succeed in life. So teach your son to take responsibility for his own actions, the good and the bad. When he does something wrong, don't let him pass the blame to someone else. And if you mess up, own it. Now, the fifth lesson that you need to teach your son is how to be a gentleman. Now, this one will be really easy for you as the dad if you are a gentleman, if you lead by the example once again. You know, I remember I read somewhere that the father said to the son, be careful where you walk. And the son replied, you be careful, because I'm just following your footsteps. Think about that. You know, you've all heard the saying that being a male is a matter of birth, being a man is a matter of age, but being a gentleman is a matter of choice. And you need to teach your son how to be and become a gentleman. A firm handshake combined with looking the other person in the eye carries with it respect, dignity and strength. Opening a car door for a woman, standing up at the table when she is seated and carrying a heavy bag for her, it displays honor. And being kind and considerate and compassionate and really being aware of your surroundings and people around you, that will just help you, and he will look up to you and he will mimic once again whatever you do. And you know, being a gentleman is such an attractive attribute to have, and that is the least that we as men can do. Next is stand up for others. You need to teach your son not only to stand up for himself, but also for others. You know, if there's one truth in this world, it's that nothing is fair. Inequality is all around us. People are hurt everywhere in the world. You know, strong people stand up for themselves, but stronger people stand up for others. And you need to teach your son that beautiful and wonderful principle. And it shows his character, it shows his compassion and kindness and willingness to make this world a better place. And we can really do with that. You know, the world, when we look around us and, you know, this hurt and pain that's all around us, only we can change it. As human beings, we brought it upon ourselves and we need to change it. And the best way and the best place for us to start as men, as dads, is with those closest to us, the next generation, our children, my son and your son. We need to start there. And at the same time, we are working to bring justice, beauty and healing into places that are full of inequality and pain. Be real with your son about the fact that there is so much injustice in this world. Then talk with him about ways he can be an agent of change in his family, his school and community. And you know, small acts of kindness. I'm not talking about big things, small things. Sit with the child who gets picked on. Stand up to the bully that's bothering other people. Share your food with the child that doesn't have lunch money. It is small little things. You know, so often we want to overcomplicate things. But the solution is really simple. There's an old saying, it's not really a saying, we used to joke about it when I was still at school. We used to say, how do you eat an elephant? They say you eat an elephant one small little bite at a time. And that's really how you should approach this as well. Just as a disclaimer, we don't really eat elephant, but you catch my drift. And number 7, I think the 7th lesson that you need to teach your son is everything about money. Money management. You know, this is such an important lesson, and with all due respect to our education departments and schools, etc. But I personally don't think that they do enough to really teach these basics to our children. But it's not only their responsibility, and I'm sure that's why I'm making this video, to teach you and to inform you and to help you as his dad, to teach him these basic money principle and how to manage his money. I mean, there's a lot of things that I can mention here. Teach your son to differentiate between needs and wants. I mean, what he need and what he want. If you want, teach him how to invest. Teach him how to negotiate. You know, I've taken my son numerous times to business meetings where, I mean, heavy business meetings. Sometimes I've been pushed in a corner. Sometimes I lost a deal. Sometimes I've signed a great deal, huge deals. So I wanted him to watch, to observe, to learn, to take in, because I want him to understand what's happening. You know, I'm paving the way forward. And the best person often to teach him these things is you as the dad. Involve him when you are busy with normal household budgets, how you plan, what you buy, what you spend on the cars and the home and insurance, small things. But don't alienize him, get him involved in it, and that way he will learn, and you will create that bond between father and son that is so important. Teach him. There is no benefit in keeping up with the Joneses. Teach him that, you know, some people spend money that they haven't earned to buy the things that they don't need, to impress the people that they don't like. All those principles you need to teach your son. And you know, that way you will equip him. What he does with his money will be a reflection of what he values. So it's up to you to bring your son alongside you as you manage your family finances. Show him the details, the good and the bad, and explain the reason behind your decisions. Why do you set aside money to give to a non-profit like a church or local charities? Why do you designate money to go to retirement, for a holiday fund or university fund? You also need to know that money doesn't grow in trees and that you need to live within your means. But you as his father need to teach him that. And last but not least, is you need to teach your son to love God. Now they say that parenting is the easiest thing in the world to have an opinion about, but the hardest thing to do. And you can't do this on your own. And you need to teach your son that we were created by God for God. And we ought to serve Him with all of our being, all of our heart, all of our soul, all of our strength, and all of our mind. And that you need to teach him to have this intimate relationship with God. And once again, you can only do that by example. Teach him to serve God, to honor and obey Him. And also remind him that we serve God by serving others. Thank you so much, everybody, for once again joining me on today's episode. As usual, I really enjoy spending time with you. I'm really looking forward to all the comments in the comment section. Please interact. Let me know what you think, and you are more than welcome to add lessons that you think maybe I missed out on, or that your father or your dad taught you that you would like to share with all of us. Please remember, if you like this video, to like it, to share it, and to leave your comments in the comments section below. It's good for you to like it, to share, and to comment, because that way it's good for the YouTube algorithms. That way we will grow, and we will be able to reach more people who you and I know can benefit from the content of these videos. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.